Good afternoon. Welcome back to the World Junior Ultimate Championships of 2018. We are live here in Waterloo on field number 1. That's our showcase field brought to you by Cut Camps. Out here we have the Great Britain women facing off against the French women. We are very excited here today. It's a little bit windy. It's going to make conditions very exciting. I'm Naomi Redmond and I'm joined by Alin Azucena today. We are so excited for this game.
And we see GB receive it, zone to start. Nice lateral movement. Wong has it. Off to Bayless on the sideline. Back to Twitch.
Hi there, is Lean anywhere close to a radio?
And that's Vero in the middle. And Twitch has it. Oh, Stratton. Wong. Parsons having a hard time stuck in that far sideline. Trying to get it through the cup, but a tip D. France has an opportunity for a break. Lenoir to pick up. Not quite. Parsons to pick up. Stratton. Twitch. Wong to Parsons. Back to Wong. Parsons. Wong to Parsons. Nice give and go. Throwing it to Bayless. And Twitch. Back to Wong. Dumping it to Vero. Wong holds on to it. Wong has it in the middle. Swings it back to the far sideline. To Parsons. Back to Wong. Stratton's got it in the middle. Nice patient lateral swings from this GB women's team. Nice bid attempt. Roland has it to Lenoir. Nice pickup by Ruel. Chartrand in the middle, looking for the break. Cheminois. And an unfortunate misconnection. Right back for France on the doorstep. Big OI throw that floats just out of reach.
France doing a really great job here of containing the Great Britain women behind this zone. Unfortunately for France, Great Britain's actually doing a very good job of moving the disc back and forth. They've had tons of patience, able to move it. Unfortunately, they get stopped there.
Big throw from Lenoir, could not reach Wong. And Rollin is picking up the disc. Van Chateau. Cheminot with the huge grab by L'Enfant.
So that's a great D-break by France here. I think Great Britain was doing a really good job of moving the disc back and forth, but when they got to the midfield, taking what felt like 100 passes, maybe it was time for them to look at throwing a little bit deeper. They were so close to scoring on the right side of your screen there in that end zone. France doing a great job of pinning them on the sideline, but Great Britain really fighting through it. Just an unfortunate short turnover right outside their end zone that gave France the opportunity to score. And up in the booth here, the winds are gusting. It's a little bit less windy than it was earlier in the day. I just came out of the WFDF office and I checked the weather and it was gusting 45 kilometers an hour. It's pretty much a straight upwind, downwind on this field. Looking to the right side of your screen, that's where the wind is coming from, blowing towards the left side of your screen. So it's going to be very, very difficult to score upwind for both of these teams. And also to pull.
Match defense look, but quick turnover. Centering pass that gets through traffic. It's turnover. A bit of a rush throw that doesn't quite connect. So France will take it. Aberdeen picks up again. And a hotly contested. It's turnover. Atkins to pick up. To Parkinson. Oh, that was Parkinson. But it sails just past her. Lenoir. It floats just out of reach. A lefty floater, and that is the hold.
And great patience from Great Britain there. We saw in the first turnover, they tried to force it in really quickly, and I think they realized that that's not going to work. It's going to take a few more passes, a lot more patience. Very helpful from Emily Parkinson, the lefty on this team, using that backhand. It's pretty nice. It's a lot easier to throw a backhand than a flick in this wind here. So that was a good work from the Great Britain team to come down with that hold.
Lots of zip to that pole, trying to get some spin on it, get far. Roland picks up, huge throw, and not quite for 2 receivers in the end zone.
And like we said, that's the downwind end zone, so it's going to be very, very hard to score on that side. Arguably as hard as scoring upwind, just because the discs are going to get pushed into the ground with so much force.
Roland to pick up. Break throw right into a defender. Right back to France, and now it's back again to GB. And the throw gets caught by the wind. Both teams are playing very frantically, as frantic as the wind. So I think whichever team calms their nerves and plays with patience will be the team that takes it. Nice IO shot that sits with the wind. To Ridgway. Looking and has a nice throw ripped down by. And Bayless holds on to that one. Another close saving grab by Ridgway, but not quite, and France will have the disc 5 yards out of the end zone. Roland has the disc, centers it to Fouquet. Moves it across to the break side. Looking, gets it, and that's the score.
That was really great movement by this French O-line. I saw a lot of cuts up the line and really quick clears out. That's so important. Sometimes when you make a cut and you end up in the open space but you don't get the disc, it's almost more important to clear out as fast as you can to create space for someone else. So particularly number 26, Fouquet, Coralie Fouquet, did a really great job. She struck up the line, a little bit too much coverage for the handler there right on the end zone. That was Rollin, and then she cleared out of the way, and France was able to push it all the way across to the other side of the field before they punched it in. So, Alain, we're going to see this French D-line coming out against the O-line, the Great Britain O-line. What do you think they're going to throw down?
I think we'll see a bit of a junky look. It's downwind, so it'll be a challenge to contain both the short field and the deep field. They'll do their best to contain, but
yeah, I think that's right. This French zone had a really good containment before. It's a bit of a short pull, but in conditions like this, oh, actually, it looks like they're going to go person here.
And a throw to Brewer, wasn't able to hold on to that low throw. Lanois has it. Looking for something. Finds Rondeau. launches it, and it sails out.
And I like that look. You could see that she was trying to put a little bit more IO on that to push it into the end zone, float it out nicely in front of the receiver. There was tons of room. Unfortunately, the wind just catching the outside edge of that and pushing it out of bounds.
And bounces off Eakin's fingers. France has it in the middle. And that's France's break. First break of the game.
I think we're maybe seeing a little bit more youth on this GB team. They seem a little bit nervous. Maybe you can see some of simple errors there with the wind. It's very windy out here, particularly going to the right side of your screen. And I think Great Britain, they're making the right cuts. They have the right looks. It's just so hard to get the disc upfield. So Ultimate is all about adjusting to the conditions. We have to play with a tiny piece of plastic, 175 grams, and we're going up against 45 kilometers of wind. So Great Britain, I'm sure the coach is talking to them right now, talking about small ball, maybe making things more simple. Cuts off the back of their vertical stack maybe won't work, but something when the player comes in a little bit closer, that could be a better option.
GB receives, going upwind.
A little bit of a miscommunication there about who's going to pick up the pull, and France is going to get a chance to set up in their zone.
Great attempt at a cross-field swing, but just floats just over her head. Roll in just in front of the end zone. Fouquet. And gets it to Borno.
Little bit of contact there on the grab. Looks like that's going to be a Great Britain timeout call here. She looks like the French player is getting up. She's okay. That's great to see her walking off the field on her own. So we have a lot of turnovers here so far. We've talked about it a little bit. It's the wind. A lot of players working so hard out there. The French zone is really, really trapping the Great Britain offense. We've talked about this on a couple of other streams, talking about the importance of picking up the pull and fielding the pull properly. When the pull goes out of bounds in WFDF rules, the player has the choice to either take it on the sideline where it went out of bounds, or they can take it up to the brick. So could depend on where the yardage is. I'm not sure. I think that pull still landed in bounds.
It did land in bounds.
Number 8, Leah Atkins had to pick it up right on the sideline after the zone had already set up. Really unfortunate break for them, just because they set on a trap zone and it was so hard for her to break through. Really just a shame that miscommunication happened.
We see GB gathering themselves. They just got broken twice. So they'll reset, put another line on, and hopefully get that hold. Eakin picking up. Dish right away. Back to Eakin. To Hamer. Eakin. Wong has it. That's Hamer. Wong. Eakin. Hamer. Eakin. Keeps it inbounds. Back to the middle of the field and to Hamer. Slowly losing yards. To Wong. Looking for something. Hamer. Wong. Now they've been pushed back all the way to the front of their end zone. And a tough crossfield throw. France has it now, the front of the end zone. Cheminot. Picked off by Hamer. Bayless. Eakin with a big crossfield throw. And a huge throw to open up the field. Gets it to Bayless, and that's a score.
So much time from the so much patience, rather, from that Great Britain offense. I'm so impressed with the composure from Sophie Wong and Ollie Hamer. They were able to throw it back and forth under so much pressure, getting forced all the way deep into their own end zone, and just an unfortunate crosswind turnover, but able to come back and break through the zone. On the contrary, looking at France's zone, particularly number 16, Mila Chateau, on the mark for that whole point, doing so much work for the French defense and able to corral the Great Britain offense all the way into the back of their end zone. That's so impressive. So much stamina pushing them all the way back there. Particularly that zone, it looked sort of like a diamond formation with a straight up mark pushing out to the sideline, a mid, and two sort of sides of the diamond, or points of the diamond, doing everything they can to shut down any upfield looks, forcing GB to swing and swing and swing until they got pushed slowly, yard by yard, back into their end zone, almost losing 40 yards. So a testament to both of these teams, the strength of the French defense and the consistency of the Great Britain offense.
Fouquet to pick up. Finds Roland. Big throw. And it's floating. Amazing read by the French player.
That throw going all the way up into the stratosphere, so high. Maybe not exactly what Roland wanted, but very impressive read by the French receiver, able to see that it was curving inside out, going out towards the back cone. Just a really, really great read. It can be so hard when you're trying to follow a throw that's trailing and you're right underneath it. It's so difficult to see where it's going, but maybe she was looking at the flags because you could see exactly where the wind was blowing in that moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that disc was affected by the wind. We've seen so many be pushed out of bounds, but that one just sat nice enough right into her hands pretty much. Stayed in bounds. That was a good connection. And Roland with another upwind pull. Almost hitting that seagull. Parsons and Eakin working it. A nice try by Ridgway to keep it in. Now France's possession. Fouquet with it. Looking for Roland. And the bobble is taken down by GB. Dish to Ridgway. Eakin has it. Swings it all the way across to Parsons. Back to Eakin and Ridgway. Nice grab. Crossfield to Parsons, who keeps it in bounds. And hucks it. And looks like there's a call. Sideline is signaling a stall down. Stall down is retracted. So GB will take it at the front of the end zone. Oh, France will take it at the front of the end zone.
And I like that look from Parsons. We've talked about it a little bit before. It's that not necessarily huck and pin, but basically you want to get it as far away from your end zone as possible when it's wind like this. Now France is staring at 70 yards that they have to chew up, and it's going to be difficult. So I think that's a good choice by Parsons. And she gets the pass, so I guess she knew exactly what she wanted there.
Eakin swings it to Ridgway for the score.
And France looking really organized on that turnover, able to set up that zone. Clearly, I'm not sure, I haven't been able to watch France that much this week, but they must have practiced that zone a lot. They know exactly who's going to sit in what place, or people can fill into the different positions very easily, because that zone, putting on that zone was so seamless, and a good attempt at trying to stop off Britain right outside the end zone, except they were so close that maybe it's better to cover people person to person, just because it left a few spots open for Great Britain to go into the end zone.
Yes, Naomi, we saw France have no options and had to resort to a high stall count huck that went right to GB's main handler. We have a flick roller pull. Picked up by Fouquet. Swung to Aubry-Dan. Gerard. Aubry-Dan in the middle. Fouquet finds Gerard. Nice floater backhand. Back to Gerard. Fouquet to Gerard. Nice little give and goes with the handlers. Slowly moving it up the field. And the swing just goes over her head. A turf throw will give it back to France. Fouquet's picking it up. Quick dish for the score.
I liked seeing that zone from Great Britain. A pretty standard four-person cup, with a rabbit following the mark, following the disc around. I think it was good. They could do good to hold the mark, hold the force. I think that would be really beneficial to them to sort of corral the French offense to one side and try and trap them on the sideline. That's the great benefit of a zone like that. It's trying to contain things and push them back to the sideline. So hopefully they can communicate that to hold it in the future. On the flip side, France doing a great job of moving the disc, particularly number 26. I've talked about her before, Fouquet, using her length. She's a little bit taller than a lot of the Great Britain players and able to throw some higher backhands while still keeping control going downwind, keeping the disc up high but not too high, but making sure it didn't get pushed into the ground. So that was really great movement from France all the way into the end zone. They had good lateral movement, and so that was great to see.
Nain with the upwind pull. It looks like there is a offside call.
So what happens here with the offside? The team will get a chance to pull again, but if there is another offside, that will result in a yardage penalty, which will be to the benefit of the offensive team.
That's right, and if there is a second offside, I believe the receiving team takes it at the brick mark in front of the end zone. Is that right?
Correct.
Twitch with it. And couldn't quite connect with Wong. Looks like France is setting up a vertical stack.
Nice grab.
Huge grab by Nain. Finds Ruel. And that the wind just catches that disc and makes it sit too high. Wong with it, looking for something. Finds Stratton. To Twitch. No mark. To Parsons. Keeps it inbounds. To Vero. In the middle. Big flick. Finds Wong. just a little bit too behind her. And a quick D by Parsons. GB setting up their end zone stack. And a big backhand that is deflected by the reset handler, Wong. Timeout called by GB.
By France.
France.
So it was a tough look for Great Britain there. Right before the first turnover, they had swung it to the sideline. We saw Parsons towing the line, working so hard to keep it in bounds. But she turned around. It's a little bit more work, but broke the mark to try and get the disc to the high side. And then she got it to Vero, who threw it all the way across to Sophie Wong. And that's so important. It opened up so much space for Great Britain because they've been really sucking into the open side and cutting off a lot of options, because when you're only working with 5 yards of lateral space, it's so much more difficult. So kudos to Parsons there. But again, great defense by France, able to stop the goal and get some turnovers and change there. And now they're going to get another chance. We've yet to see anyone score upwind, so we'll see if France can take a shot here. Both teams have been close a couple times, just unable to seal the deal, unable to calm down right on the end zone line to put it in the bank. So hopefully we can see some sort of set play from France here. I imagine we might see another zone set from Great Britain to try and slow them down.
France setting up with 4 handlers back and 3 in the stack. Nain has it. Nice upline cut from Lanois.
Playing a little bit of soccer out there on the field, trying to stop the disc from rolling.
Wong wants that backhand. What a
oh
huge
my
grab.
Goodness!
Parsons and the connection.
What an incredible grab! I'm sorry I interrupted you, Alin, but I could not keep my excitement. That was possibly one of the most amazing grabs I have seen in person. Oh my goodness, Becky Parsons, what a catch right outside the end zone, and then composes herself to throw the goal. She is coming off the field, and man, does she deserve a little break.
That was a full extension grab. That was huge.
I'm in shock. For all the folks at home, I am off my feet. I'm standing in the booth. I don't know if I'm going to be sitting down anytime Becky Parsons is on the field again. That was unbelievable.
She definitely seems like a player we can expect more things like that from.
Yeah, she's been doing so much work for this Great Britain team. If that's not going to amp them up, I don't know what will. I'm ready to put my cleats on and get onto the field.
Eakin with a beautiful upwind pull. Rollin with it. Back to Rollin. And big flick huck. There's a high stall count. No options. Eakin to pick up on the corner. Martin holds on to that, but picked off by Fouquet. And a big throw. She's going, not quite. It's a nice run by Borneau to go for that.
And I think that throw was good. The angle that it went up, it was lifting in a way that it wasn't going to get pushed down by the wind. Unfortunately, just a little bit too fast and straight to the back of the end zone, so that's why she couldn't get there. But I think that's the right angle, just a little bit more calibration, and the next time it's going to be a goal.
And there's a call on the field, a pick, signaled by the game observer advisor. Looks like they're calling on a translator or a spirit captain.
And over here on the sideline, we see some of the players from Great Britain practicing their hammer throws up and downwind. So maybe we're going to see that cracked out the next time we have this player on O. It's not a bad choice. I've been at many windy tournaments coming out of the northwest region of I guess Canada, USA, from Canada, but played in the USA a lot in the college division. And sometimes all you need is to be able to muscle a hammer 15 yards upfield to break a zone.
So the disc is going back. GB will take it at the corner again. To Eakin. Finds Martin on the far sideline. In floaty throw, gets steed by France. A huck right away, right to Borneau's hands.
And that's the angle that I was talking about, opening up the front side edge of the disc just to give it a little bit more lift, a little something to keep it going. That's the thing that's going to score these goals. And I think, again, another downwind point. If France could get this upwind break, we are sitting at 7-4, so that would take us into half. That would be absolutely something that they could use. It would keep them the momentum for the rest of the game.
And you could see that hustle in France. As soon as they got a turnover, France was looking to huck it every time, take advantage of their downwind opportunities. It looks like GB is setting up something. Gnomes, what would you put out as a coach? You're down a few.
I mean, I think I mentioned it a little bit before, that huck and pin idea. I think if Great Britain, if France is able to get a pull sort of up around half, which they've been few and far between in this game just because of the gusts that we're experiencing, I think Great Britain has to think about chucking it, which I know isn't the prettiest ultimate, but if they can at least get the disc sort of in the end zone area and then put on a hard mark. They've been playing a lot of match defense here, so probably not going to put on a zone, but they're so much more likely to cause a turnover sort of in the red zone, sort of 15 yards outside of their end zone than they are that, and they're just as likely to get a turnover sort of close to their end zone. So I think if France was able to score an upwind break here, that would be absolutely devastating for Great Britain. So if they can force a turnover or just go ahead and score a goal as fast as they can, and looking where they're set up here, right around the brick mark, I think that's a really great opportunity to take a bit of a shot.
Vero has it to Wong. Looking for Parsons. No. Misconnection. Beaumont has it in the middle of the field to Ruel. Back to Beaumont. Chateau to Ruel, but it sits too high. Wong picking up. Bayless still open, toes it. Back to Wong. Swing to Parsons. To Vero. Nice flick to an open Bayless. That's a turnover. A swing and too fast for her. GB will take it just in front of the end zone. High stall count. A little frantic in that end zone, and she couldn't quite connect. France setting up a vertical stack with 3 handlers back. Big high release backhand that's picked off by GB, by Edwards.
And this is what I'm talking about, Olin. I know I should never preach that end zone turnover. We always want to be as keeping possession when we're close to the end zone. But it's going to be so much easier for Great Britain to get a stoppage here than it will be further down the field. But France calls a timeout. There's been a lot of timeouts in this half because the points are so long. Just quickly want to chat about that French defensive set that we saw at the beginning of this point before the first turnover. They switched things up. So before they were playing sort of that diamond zone, but this looked more like a poachy zone. So it was pretty person to person in the front on the handlers, and then the cutters in the back, they had someone sitting deep, and then the 3 other receiver covers were poaching under, so to sort of stop anything coming under. And that made things really, really hard for Great Britain. Sometimes when you are cutting against that, it's so intimidating when you see 3 bodies in front of you, in this case three blue shirts, but the strategy that usually coaches preach against that is you have to cut through the poach or double cut through the poach with your friends to try and clear them out of there. So hopefully we can see Britain take care of that if they can get back on O, but we'll see what France can do right now coming out of this timeout to try and score upwind.
GB looked patient swinging against that zone and eventually found a couple cutters downfield wide open. And France
It's a
holds
nice
onto
grab.
it. Yeah. Looking for the reset to Beaumont. Finds Ruel. Cheminot in the middle. To Nain. And a half-holstered throw that just falls out of her hands. Parsons picks up. Looks for that big backhand. To Roledge. Back to Wong. To Bayless. Great lateral movement and easy score for GB.
That's something that they've been doing really well all game, able to swing it back and forth. They have really good sort of zippy flick throws kind of underneath the mark, able to muscle it past the French mark. So I think that's been really good for them and really important. I do think that once they get to that far side, the far side from our camera, that side of the field, they should look towards, come back towards the middle because the backhand is a little bit more stable in this wind and they can't rifle it as hard just because they've had a few go to the ground on that side. But other than that, like really, really great movement from Great Britain. Particularly, we see Sophie Wong and Parsons there doing so much work for their handler corps.
Parsons back on with a upwind pull. Rolling back.
So this is one of those opportunities that number 13 on France, that's Roland, could choose to take it back at the middle of the field, but on the brick.
And she holds on to it for the quick score. Big backhand by Roland to take half.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, we're still looking at France. They're up, I believe, two breaks. So because of that, Great Britain is in a bit of a hairy spot. France has a little bit of a lead, and we've seen how hard it is to try and score upwind. So because of that, Great Britain is going to have to do a lot of work in the second half before they can close the gap here. But Alin and I are going to take a quick break into the halftime. We just want to thank Cut Camps for sponsoring this field, as well as Minute School, who have kept the stream going all week, along with VC, Greatest Bags, and Discraft, and Universe Point Cleats. So we will see you in about 5 minutes. Welcome back. We are in windy Waterloo. It is, what day is it? It's Wednesday. We've been here all week. Wednesday afternoon, this is day 5 of the World Junior Ultimate Championships of 2018. We are here on the showcase field brought to you by Cut Camps. On the field out here, we have the France women's team, under 20 team, taking on the Great Britain team. We are at France took half at 8, and Great Britain is at 5. This has been a very interesting game to watch. A lot of different zone looks, a lot of different person sets. It's been great to watch both teams battling with the conditions, and it's been super fun. I think both teams are very athletic. We saw a highlight reel chest-high layout grab from number 16 on Great Britain, Becky Parsons, just absolutely elevating to chest height for that layout grab. I'm still in total shock. Probably going to be talking about it all year. But other than that, we've seen great plays from both sides. Just had to give her a quick shout out because it was so unbelievable. But going into this second half, I believe Great Britain is on defense. We have France on offense. Great Britain really needs a break here to stay in the game, but it is windy, so we know anything can happen.
Becky Parsons with the big pull downwind. Lands inbounds right at the corner of the end zone. Bit of a junky look from GB. Rowland has it in the middle. Borno. Rowland again on the far sideline. Fouquet finds Ruel in the middle. Nice quick swings, moving it quickly through the GB zone. Lots of touches between these French players. Very dynamic, moving in and out of this cup. Their backhand floaters sitting for easy grabs for them. Now transition to person D. Upline, not there. Chateau being very patient, finds it. It's a bid and wasn't able to hold on to it. That was great upwind patience. Moved it really well. GB holds on to it with a bid. A zippy flick to Ridgeway. Launches it. Kept in possession by Bayless. Back to Ridgeway. Wants the backhand. Oh, launches it. And too far.
That was a really nice grab by Bayless there, digging into the turf to pick up that low throw and going all the way to the opposite side of the end zone to try and pick up that huck. I think that was great. A good choice again by Great Britain to throw it into that corner because it makes it that much more difficult for France to have to work it up the full field.
The wind is picking up again. Hopefully we can see that Great handler movement for France again to work it back up the field. Oh. And a misthrow. Another misthrow. Rushing the throws a bit and can't connect. Through the zone. Gets it to draw. Finds Ruel. Lots of options for her. Zippy flick. And that's good. Draw holds on to that for the score.
And that's that upwind break that we were talking about. France able to move the disc out into space. So much more difficult for Great Britain to catch up, especially onto that flick side. All of the Great Britain defenders were trapped over on the backhand side from that zone that they had put on. I think all in all, a good look by Great Britain putting on that zone. They were able to stifle the France offense for a long time. Unfortunately, France, just their throwers, a lot of those high release backhands, still with a lot of spin, able to get them from point A to point B. That really opened up both sides of the field and gave France this chance to get into the end zone.
Yep, we're seeing a lot of depth with these French throwers. They all have that high release backhand that's sitting in the wind for them and can make the handler movement easy.
And I think that's a really great way of looking at it, Alin. It's thrower depth and thrower diversity, because that is a really, really difficult throw. Being able to control that shows a lot of maturity in the French throwing program.
GB receives, and France sets up a zone as well. Picked off by France. Swing to a wide open Cheminot. Nice. Big D by GB. Wong holds on to that one. GB's handlers again being pushed back by the zone, slowly losing yards. Nice zip through the cup. Oh, and it looks like a misstep. Tumbled her over, and the GB could not hold on to that one. Wong has it in the middle of the field.
Again, good look into space. I think that would have been a completion if it wasn't glaring upwind, but I think a good choice there.
Ooh, a bit of a collision with a France player coming over her teammate. She seems okay. And a strong throw that just bounces off her receiver's hands. Bayless picking it up in the corner of the end zone, gets it past the cup. In the middle to Edwards. Back to Bayless. And her flick drops just out of reach. Beaumont with the disc. Lots of space for her receivers, but too low. And that's a timeout called by France.
You can start to see a little bit of frustration from both these teams here. I know both teams they both know that they're a lot stronger than how some of these throws are looking and some of these misreads. Unfortunately, when the wind is gusting like this on our showcase field, the disc can pop up or pop down at the last minute, and you can think you're going to watch it right into your hands, but then it'll bounce off or something will come in a little bit hotter than you're expecting. So we're seeing both teams starting to look a little bit frustrated. It's unfortunate to see that kind of frustration, but then they turn it around, and when they're on defense, we're seeing some really exciting defense, particularly from France. I noticed number 5, that's Lanois. She's on the mark in that wall, and she is frothing at the mouth. She's absolutely looking for that D, looking for that hand block, and that kind of spunk is the kind of thing that's getting France a little bit further ahead in this game. They're playing with a little bit more grit going up against the wind, so kudos to that.
Yep, and we're seeing both teams create space for each other. France with that deep vertical setup to isolate the player coming under. And GB's handlers moving out, spreading across the field to open up the field, give them options when they swing it across. And quick point for France.
France doing a good job there. GB set up in the zone, and France was set up in the stack. But France able to recover very quickly and find that nice lefty throw out into space, and then another another flick into the end zone. That's a good recovery from France, finding the holes in Great Britain's zone.
Sorry about that delay. And GB has it on offense. There's a call on the field. Pick signaled by that game advisor. Tapped in. Hamer has it. on the far sideline. And there's a call. Foul, uncontested. Great, clear signals.
It's so helpful when you're up in the booth to see those signals. But I can say I could hear the skin-on-skin contact all the way here from the other side of the field, so I don't think that was ever going to be contested.
Swing to Hamer, a low flick, and it's D'd by Ruel. GB getting so close to their end zone. Really pushing for this hold, but can't make it. They'll have another opportunity here. Eakin has it in front of the end zone. Just too far. France looking for the reset. Nice grab to save that OI flick. Desperate throw. And GB comes down with this jump ball. Finds Martin, and there's a pick on the field. Martin will take it at a stall count of 3. Finds Eakin in the middle. Big backhand, and it's good. An Eakin to Eakin connection.
That's really nice, and we've seen some of that this week. The family connections. We see quite a few teams where Ultimate runs in the family. That's the Eakins on Great Britain. It's Natalie and Holly Eakin. So I believe they have started playing sort of on some of the same teams. The Leamington Lemmings and I believe Evolution, the high school team, as well as Hydra. So that's a great opportunity for the sisters to get to play together, to get to take the world stage, to get to go on the live stream together. So we love to see that. We've seen it on some of the other teams that we've streamed as well. So it's great to see Ultimate running in the family and for people to get to play together.
Yeah, and they were really stoked about that connection, getting the point after being broken a few times. So France now with the downwind offense, and they'll have a short pole to work with. Roland walking over to pick up the disc. A quick flick, and that is the easy score.
And Alin, you don't see that sort of vertical set very often with the 3 handlers back and 4 cutters in the stack. It's definitely not something that you see as much, but especially in the end zone, it creates a lot more space, gave the French player a lot of room to shake free, and because the stack was nicely pulled into the other side of the middle of the end zone, it gave her so much room to get open and made that open side throw really easy for Roland.
Yep, and I'm not surprised with the 3 handlers back with this kind of wind. Makes it easier for that reset handler to come towards the back, easy dump, and have that swing option right away.
Yeah, it takes off a little bit of pressure from the reset because sometimes you just can't get open, and it's nice to have a backup.
So Eakin picking up. And there's a turnover. France with a disc. And a swing. Floats, but that's a grab. And Cheminot just has to reach, but couldn't hold on to that one. Ridgway with the disc. Nice IO flick. Looks off that backhand throw. Ridgway with the disc again. Again with the IO flick, and looking done. That's a point for GB again. Easy downwind score.
Really nice catch under pressure with a laying out French defender almost right in front of the disc. I actually don't really know how she was able to track that into her hands, but great patience and showing a lot of composure from this Great Britain offensive line. They're still in the game, folks. It's 11-7. As we've seen earlier in this day, we've seen a lot of games that have been sort of around that goal mark, and we've seen the underdog team in this sense claw back into the lead. So that's what we talk about, the wind being the great equalizer of the game. So we'll see if Great Britain is going to go on a roll here, but now we have France going downwind on O, so they are definitely at the advantage.
I think if we see another team with excellent upwind offense like France in the first half, that team will go on a roll. Really nice upwind pull. Rollin with it, and all the receivers going deep. Retracted foul call. Bourneau with it on this sideline. Wide open. Drouot finds Roland. Big backhand. And that's a grab for the goal.
And a nice layout attempt, but I think, Alin, we have to bring up what you said earlier about the throwing depth on that French team. It feels like just about every player on the field touched the disc, and every single one was able to put out nice flat throws or ones with angle, but good angle, and I think that is kind of what's separating France from Great Britain right now. Great Britain does have a few very, very strong throwers, but it's not necessarily always all seven on the line. I do think both teams are doing a great job of muscling it through the wind, but France, every single player there able to get a touch and able to throw things out into space with cutters cutting into space. Number 13, Marine Roland is really, really just killing it back there. She's doing so much work, gaining so many yards, and able to guide her entire offensive line, or I guess in that case, offensive line into the end zone.
And we've seen a switch of defenses, more person defense, and maybe that's what's leading to these quick downwind scores. Wong throws it, but her receiver gets turned around and can't track it. So France will have the opportunity for an upwind break. Chateau hitting the up line. Beaumont, flick, grab to Ruel. That disc sails out of the reach into GB's hands. Wong with it. That's a turnover. Again, the pace getting a little frantic and some rush throws that aren't hitting their mark.
And the wind is also gusting a lot harder in the last minute or so than it has been for the rest of the game. So it's still, you can see the flags in the background there. They're waving away.
Beaumont with it in this near sideline. Gets it off to Nain. Chateau. Nice flick throw. Finds Ruel. Nice layout catch, but loses it when she impacts the ground. Wong with it. Gets to Rollage. And there's a call on the field. Calling over their team's translator.
So in this little break, I guess we can mention some of the other streams that we have on coming tonight. So just because of the rain delays yesterday, we're going to have an extra stream tonight at 5 p.m. So that's going to be Great Britain on this pitch again, but the men's side, and they're going to be facing off against Team USA. So that's going to be a very, very exciting match. We're really excited to have them next. Additionally, we have a showcase game tonight. It's going to be Team Canada men taking on Team Italy. So that is going to be a very exciting game. So that is at we're going to be starting just after 5 p.m. here for USA taking on Great Britain, and then probably just after 7 p.m. for Italy versus Team Canada. So stay tuned.
If you're coming out to watch, definitely bring a blanket or something. It's pretty chilly with the gusts.
It's chilly, but luckily the wind has blown away some of the clouds. It's not threatening rain anymore, so we have a little bit of sunshine, and we think that tomorrow and the rest of the week is going to be just beautiful.
So the disc is back with Rollage and finds Wong. Dump to Milner. Oh! French player gets to it first. Nain. A dump to Nain. Big huck. And great positioning by the GB player to D it. Wong's picking it up. Gets to Alcock. And a low swing and can't hold on to it. Falling over flick, but can't connect.
A lot of style in that throw, just got picked up a little bit and unfortunately sails away from the receiver.
Wong launches it. Oh! And again, just couldn't quite track it. That's a tough one when it comes almost right over your head. And you have to just know where it's going to be.
I know, you have to take, scientifically analyze the angle of it compared to the wind, compared to how fast your legs are moving. It's a lot to think about.
It's a lot of analysis, yeah. Wong with it in the middle. Looking to reset. Gets to Martin. Martin finds Milner for the score. GB is inching back in this game.
So now we have the French women at 12, I believe. Great Britain at 8. This game is still in hand. It's very exciting. We're seeing some great bids. That was a great D by 61 Alcock on Great Britain in the end zone. And Great Britain able to work it all the way down the field. So that's really, really fantastic to see. Now we're going to get another look at the French offense. We have Rollin in the middle. We also have Fouquet and I believe Lanois. The three of those handlers just doing so much work for this French team. And pardon, I believe it was Vino in the up top. She's been grinding all of these players, working so hard.
Big flick huck. Looking for Bourneau. And just out of the tips of her fingers. That was great isolation to find her in that end zone space. It could have been a quick downfield score. Nice grab by GB. Parkinson swings it back to Ridgway. And it's thrown out of bounds. Rollin with it again on the far sideline. Looking for a reset. No one back. Hammer. Not quite. To Bayless. Wide open twitch. Parkinson working it quickly up the upwind. And she comes down with it. Parsons for the flick. Deflected, and it's a grab!
That is a great grab. A couple of great grabs in a row. Great Britain gets their upwind break, their first upwind break of the game. That is so exciting. Becky Parsons makes the huge grab in traffic and then throws a bit of a blade, intended or not, into the hands of the French defender, who deflects it, and it goes up into the air, and I believe Parkinson, or I didn't catch which player it was, but great grab, watching it all the way into her hands. So impressive. So much focus from that Great Britain team for the last few throws there.
A pretty cute Selly with a backward somersault. I think that point will really ramp up the GB team, hopefully get enough momentum to bring the game closer than what it is right now.
Well, now you see France is going to have to try and score upfield, and that's so much more difficult, as we've seen, than scoring downfield. So Great Britain definitely an advantage here, but we have seen France punch it in upwind before. They have really talented throwers on this line. They've put out a strong throwing line, so I think we can expect to see a real battle on this point.
Parsons again with a big downwind pull. Oh, and the throw floats a bit past the receivers. And not quite the throw that she wanted. So France will have it again.
And for all you folks at home, the wind has changed a little bit. It's not so much upwind, downwind from on your screen at home from the right to the left. It's becoming a little bit of a crosswind now, so both teams are going to have to calibrate and change for this wind, for the change in the wind.
There's a call on the field. A marking violation. Quick dish, looking for a reset. Again, France working with this tight space, dishing it between each other. Hangs on to that floaty backhand. Chateau on the far sideline. Big backhand, but blades and doesn't get there. Looks like it didn't come in. Parsons taking it to Vero. And it's a turnover. France with it. Gerard. Big throw into Parsons' hands. GB looking to score downwind. Parkinson on the far sideline. Dump backfield. She holds on to it. And trying to punch it into the end zone, but can't hold on to it. Oh, there's a call, foul call.
I think we're starting to see both teams play a little bit more physical here on offense and defense. You could see in that Great Britain zone, France really trying to crash the cup and elbow their way in there. So it's getting, but also Great Britain standing their ground. It is getting a little bit more physical on both sides, and so possibly a marking violation or a little bit of contact on the mark when number 8, that's Atkins, trying to throw upfield. Totally possible. It is hard. There is a lot of stuff going on, but it looks like that it's not going to be contested.
Mm-hmm.
And so Great Britain is going to get another chance. They're so close here to get their second break in a row.
And the swing just goes too far and too fast. France will call the timeout.
And that timeout there, we have about just 1 minute left on the clock. France is at 12, Great Britain is at 8. I think this game might be out of hand for Britain just because of the time, but France is going to take this timeout to collect themselves, settle down a little bit, and see what they can do to string through enough passes to get it in the bank.
Oh, and it looks like play started. Great Britain again with this three-person wall, one on the mark. Marking violation.
Some of the long limbs of Jojo Bayless getting in the way of Roland trying to throw upfield.
Again, the well-oiled French handler movement, moving it quickly across the field, slowly up the field. Stuck on this far sideline.
That's a tough spot.
Sails it, throws it out, and it's deed.
Looks like a stall call. We'll see if it goes back or if it's going to be a turnover there.
The game advisor is signaling that it's been retracted. So GB has it. Close D. Alcock swings it back to the middle. Knifes that flick. Bayless with it. A big flick. And Parson, oh! Really close to towing it in that back end zone.
A lot of traffic in that back end zone. Lots of cameras trying to capture some content. So that might have she might have seen it out of the edge of her eye and might have distracted her a little bit.
France getting out of that sideline trap, but the swing floats too much. Another big lefty flick huck. She's got it, and nice and patient with it right at the front of the end zone. Alcock looking for a reset, but can't find one. A nice huck. Working it back up the field by France. And she gets her receiver turnaround, and it's another turnover.
Players out on the field looking just absolutely exhausted. All of these points have been so long. There have been so many Ds, so many big hucks, a lot of long runs. Both teams just grinding. Someone has got to score this point.
Couple big throws, and it looked close. France is going to take it again on the far sideline. Another trap, and the cup is squeezing in. Great read. Draw hat with it. Back to Fouquet. Right in the front of the end zone. Fouquet again in the middle. Looking for that break side German look, I think. And then GB just airing it out, forcing France to work again.
Like we said earlier, though, that is a good look. It gives France so many more yards that they have to chew up, a lot more distance to cover. So it is a good, a nice D.
And GB scores it. Emphatic catch. Oops.
We have exploding pens up here in the booth. Almost as explosive as that cut by Bayless there. Great cut out into open space. Floats a throw out into space, and we have a goal for Great Britain.
So that brings it to 10 for Great Britain and 12 for France. They seem to catch their momentum, but maybe too late in this game.
So just chatting with one of our game advisors on the sideline here with Mr. Oliver Brown. So it sounds like this game is going to be to 13. So we are at 12 for France and Great Britain at 10. So Great Britain, they have to score 3 if they want to win it. France only has to score 1, and they are going to have to they're going to have to hold going downwind. Conditions are definitely favoring France here. Very excited to see what we can do and see what line the Great Britain coach puts out there. Alin, if you're on that line with Great Britain, what are you telling them right now?
Play big.
Play big.
Yeah, going upwind, trying to get that turn, getting the momentum, but France has the advantage. You have to chase down every floating disc. You got to grind this last few points. Parsons with a great upwind pull. And there is a foul called on the throw.
Little bit of discussion. Looks like they're going to bring in a game advisor just to so it's just going to be contested, which means it will go back to the thrower and in on the stall count. Looks like stalling 3 that it's going to go back in on.
She holds on to it after a bobble. Back to Fouquet. Roland. Big throw, and she's got it. Locks away the game for France.
That was the second time we saw that throw get put up by Rollet. Really sort of using that inside backhand throw. Very impressive that she's able to get that off with a mark in front of her. And I think that's the story of this whole game. France did a great job. They've definitely done a lot of practice throwing, probably a lot of practice throwing in the wind. So they were really prepared for this game against Great Britain. Great game from Great Britain and France. So excited to have you here on the live stream. For everyone at home, we have another game coming up in about 5 minutes. It's going to be Team USA men taking on Great Britain men, so stay tuned. Thank you so much. Thanks, Cut Camps, for putting on this showcase field for us. I'm Naomi Redman with Alin Azucena, and we will see you in 5.